looks like I'm going to speak a little bit of Igbo in this video. So, Obone Boni Igbo, and you're listening to me now. Achonki Gemonti. Unu na yo na funa. Ihe me wana nwoke Nnamdi Kanu. Be ha kwado a long time ago. It's a plan. I don't really know a lot of people who were not expecting this to happen. I personally was expecting it to happen. But always something in the Igbo caveat to this. Naturally speaking, they have psychologically prepared us enough for it. But no matter how much anyone prepares you for something like this, barefaced, glaring injustice, given that we are in a country where terrorists who kill, and they don't just kill, they do sacrificial killing. They kill in the most horrific manner known to mankind. They just get taken to a place where they call rehabilitation center, where they basically just take care of them, give them VIP treatments, and then the next minute they call them repentant terrorists and are integrated into the Nigerian system. In a country that does this, a country that tolerates hardened terrorists, globally proscribed, having peace talks with government authorities, having press conferences, terrorists that disembowel pregnant women, take their children, the babies out of their wombs and then kill the babies, are pardoned without even a chastisement, nothing, just pardoned, integrated, all VIP. In a country that is like that, one would expect that it is absolutely impossible to sentence a man like Nnamdi Kanu for what he said in a broadcast. But we are living in a theater of the absurd. Nigeria is a quintessence of absurdities. But that's not even where I am going. Nene benaga. Ken munti. Unu nayo na fora since kamwe Donald Trump mecha luta Nigeria for all their wickedness and crimes. Chupuna wenya ike owe designate Nigeria. That ever since then, when he went there, is we watching there, all of them have been fighting, looking for how to say that it is the problem of Igbo people. Non Igbo male Trump lota Nigeria. It was lota Nigeria now. The same BBC that coined the propaganda terminology of Igbo Q was the first to fire the first shot, by claiming that it was IPOB affiliated organizations that carried out the campaign to Donald Trump. Kiwe man against those guys nugu. Kafa webidaga bubendi bai. Nka megide kwa meko na chi umwoko onyo. Ebute kwa another one. Nka mekwa kona be trend onwukwa. Ebute kwa another one again now. That no some Biafra, we put some stupid document has now with them from 2021. Meanwhile, Trump had already designated Nigeria in 2020 before. Natural death. So basically, if you look at it, if you hana noni bihariak everywhere, now try to hagis we rope on the bo in Kebidaga before Donald Trump Bolundia Milan in Nigeria. He had put the plan. Had Chohoka ndi body normal, the okay, the same. Before Trump land there, because now Malugo Nambu Trump ga land. and Nigeria within them, and all got fear of how we carry out their plans against Ndibo. That is why Ihamelu Nnamdi Kanu Juwebia, to me, not as a surprise, but as a setup or distraction or setup. Actually, can the buy react here? Can the buy be do declare basita tomon kan na nibo ka we mwiki buluzin di befa uniform. We jeba sine we go serious threat in that place. Then we serious and we can declare state of emergency na buy. We buluzi uniform repentant here one hand way. We unleash it on our people. We repentant terrorists basi na bayana army na bayana police be kichi na ndi ni na haiti ngasi na army no. The bank kwanu muntio. Since the civil war of 1967 and 1970, Ayadibe were anywhere close to freedom as we are today. Not for once. Chineke na azagokwe belanyo. No be hear your brother now gwage. Because I'm in a place where I should know. Chineke asaga bele. I have never come across an Igbo person. Maybe there are one or two exceptions, but it's hard. I've not come across an Igbo person that deep down in their soul does not wish and pray for Chineke na tuzana awa ekbere ke inyani freedom ka enwelo onwai. Only Igbo obunifo ngulala niya but this pain and this burden na bali everywhere. Mwana wasiki as your own brother no ni isi mini maybe hesieme that na Chineke na zage belawa, not that no na cheese just zage already. Ndia we na chosi ke provoke why can you make something or ga ba me tupu nyemaka na achibia elu ayaka obuna hebuto sigondi ba nine e agwa set up. So achom with a video Kesasiya video to as many people as possible. Gwandi baini ne nam se honyo obana dere nuju una ango na ungo na unku na abia. At the US Congress hearing on the designation of Nigeria, hearing now take place right now. A congressman, black man, literally was speaking about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to the hearing of the whole world media not there. The guy when they disgrace Nigeria with the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu even mentioned that the guy had to defend himself with sickness and everything, yet terrorists are walking around free, holding press conferences. Wanina Malugo, Nigeria is dancing naked, completely naked in front of the whole world, and only Nigeria seems not to know that it is naked. Happen on Nigeria, okay? Happen on Nigeria. Una dabakwanana trap in the Nigeria. Dono muna kananti, jidono muna aka. Una wakwana anwa overreact to heneme wana inwoke because decision on our brother. Mpotia Adiko decided I will not speak more than that. Una wana we baye na trap mpakara ndi ukwensua because I daba na trap for more deaths for us. Don't worry yourself about Mazi. Lotana Mbwagia today, one night woke yaputa, and it will happen soon.
This is a pure case of agenda, and it has IPOB backing. That since IPOB and its leaders are followers of Jewish or Judaism religion in the East, white clothing Christian religion is, and their churches somewhere in the Southeast, that they classify this IPOB because they look like they are Jewish people, and that is why they are killing them in the Southeast. He said, nowhere, like I told you in this report, where he will say he admits of the fact that there is any killing in the Southeast and that the killing was perpetrated by the IPOB or Eastern Security Network. This is the only report the senator relied on.
My people, make una come here. The special advisor to the president of Nigeria, Daniel Bwala, was on Channels television just yesterday and they were asking him about the buying of Christians going on in Nigeria. And of course, the US Congress is also in talk about it, want to sanction Nigeria over the buying of Christians. Do you know what Daniel Buwala said? He said that it is IPOB that went to tell the US Congress that Christians are being unalived in Nigeria. It is IPOB. Hey, Jesus Christ. Amen. IPOB. Amen and IPOB. Wetin happen? The Senate President Godswill Akpabio also said that it is IPOB. Special advisor to the president also came on air to say it is IPOB. So I ask again. So IPOB are the people in the north unaliving people. IPOB are not the people in the middle belt unaliving people. I ask. Holy Jesus, waiting person no go see IPOB when I don't hear them.
Thank you for having me.
How damaging is Senator Ted Cruz position? He's not only saying it, he's moved it as a movement of law for an act of parliament in the United States.
First of all, Senator Ted Cruz is having a declining popularity in the U.S. Because of some of the extreme positions he has taken in favor of APAC, which the MAGA base are not happy with him. People like Tucker Carlson, Candy Owens, there are quite a number of them who are not comfortable. So in a bid to revive his ailing political career, he decided to choose people of like minds to do that. But let me not push far in that regard and focus on the germane issue of substance. Senator Ted Cruz published on his official Twitter page allegation against the government of Nigeria. And if you look at that, you will see he said that is a genocide, that is a killing of Christians in Nigeria, to which public officials are either complicit or all they are participating in it. In other words, he's trying to say that there is a genocide and the genocide is perpetrated by Nigeria government. Now, genocide, if you look at the very concept and definition of genocide, you know that it has to be a state-orchestrated thing, or even if it is non-state actors, it has to be established. The second thing is talk about the participation of the government of Nigeria. He knows it is false, but let me tell you where the story is coming from.
Or maybe he doesn't know.
Let me tell you, the reason is because almost all of them base that position that they said on this report. This report was written by Intersociety, Civil Liberty and Rule of Law. They call them International Society for Civil Liberties and Rule of Law. It is founded in Nigeria and it is somewhere in Onitsha. Most of the references they made were in this report. Now, if you look at this report, which was first published in August, and then they updated it last month, September, you will know that this is a pure case of agenda, and it has IPOB backing. This report can be seen on their website, Inter-Society, Civil Liberties and the Rule of Law. Now, they gave what they call to be a report of killings in Nigeria. They said they got their sources from multiple places. They also said they relied on their previous archive in reaching the conclusion. If you look at the entire report, 70% of the cases of killing that they are referring to happened in 2015, 2016, and I think 2018. The reference they made to the killings in 2025, they said the report, they got them from Sahara reporters, they got it from one civil society, and they got it from what they call open source. Almost all of the things that they were published, they were based on hearsay. Now, if you're writing a report, the little I know about people who understand what research is, you have to go to the root of the source. You have to verify the point. Nowhere in this report has he established one fact, that this report stemmed from a research by their organization. Needless talking about the people who fund this particular organization. But do you know one intriguing thing about this report? He has analyzed every killings in Nigeria. There is one killing that he refused to acknowledge. And in fact, he even said that all of the killings of priests, the citizens of the southern eastern Nigeria, he said they were perpetuated by the Nigerian security forces, Nigerian crack team, and Nigerian intelligence officers in the pretext of fight against IPOB. Then in that report, he came to that very, very important point here, where he said all of these have seen reckless whatever, and that the premise for which there is false labeling, mass criminalization, class stigmatization, and here's a conclusion, is premised on two things. Number one, that since IPOB and its leaders are followers of Jewish or Judaism religion in the East, white clothing Christian religionists and their churches somewhere in the Southeast, that they classify this IPOB because they look like they are Jewish people, and that is why they are killing them in the Southeast. He said Nowhere, like I told you in this report, where he will say he admits of the fact that there is any killing in the southeast and that the killing was perpetrated by the IPOB or Eastern Security Network. This is the only report the senator relied on. Meanwhile, there have been reports by Human Rights Watch, a report by Amnesty International, United States Institute of Peace, and all other allied reports on insecurity in Nigeria. Not a single one referenced any form of insecurity as religiously based killings in Nigeria.
So there is a concern though, because where the fire is originating from, it does look like it's Nigerians who have instigated this, and there are those who say they have directly been impacted by the killings in Nigeria. Right. For example, July this year, some Nigerians, some of them who are from Benue State, they had a protest press conference in Washington DC, and now we're even hearing that Marco Rubio is supporting this move, and they said that there is a genocidal attack in their land. Some of these people, and I would say after the Yewata attack, those who have risen up to say it does look like a coordinated attack against Christians, because most of the people that were attacked, churches were attacked, the people that were attacked, most of them are Christian. That it looks like a coordinated attack. Nigerians in the United States seem to have fueled or instigated it.
So there are three things you mentioned here. Number one is a group that went and protested. Number two, the issue they presented to the congressmen. They are fabricated and half truths. Yes to the fact that there have been killings. No to the fact that the killing is because they are Christians. You see, because anywhere a crime is committed, the tribe or religion that is predominant in that place will be the most casualty. You will see the most casualty there. In the same way you see in Zamfara, in Sokoto, in Katsina, in Kebbi, where these bandits have come and kill people, abduct people, majority of them are Muslims. So when you go to Benue, and but let me tell you something. Recently, there have been arrests of individuals that were fomenting crisis in Benue. Guess what? They were thrown in the public media. Some of them are Christians. So some of the places, the crisis there, they ask their governors will tell them, because governors receive intel report. It is not because they are Christians. Either it is based on land grabbing, cattle rustling, cattle this, whatever it is, that is the component. That's why United States Institute of Peace never mention religion. So when you go to the United States and you push religion, that you are being persecuted before you are Christian, to me, is a mischaracterization of the real issue.
What is the implication of Nigeria being designated as a country of particular concern?
Well, if a country is designated as a country of particular concern, what happened is that that country is likely to come under sanction. And the sanction can be either of these four. It can be on travel ban, it can be embargo on the sale of arms to you, it can also be trade-related embargo, where there is this tariff or whatever trade restriction, and it can be the fourth one. I think I can't remember. Either of these four can happen to you. Now, some of these Nigerians who are overzealous and are wanting this thing to come on Nigeria because either you are in the opposition or you are even a pastor. You feel that this thing should happen. If the embargo or ban is placed on Nigeria, maybe you've been going there to preach. Nigerians can't go to America. You know, recently Donald Trump banned certain countries where people from those countries can't go there. So you have to know, if you are somebody that travels abroad for whatever, it can be religious, it can be trade, it can be business. If a sanction is placed on you, that is likely going to affect.
But there are those who will say the Tinubu government has to do a lot of work because these things are being instigated by Nigerians.
So let me tell you why lately Nigerians have been crying for long about insecurity. They've been pushing this issue of religion for a long time. But these guys in the West, that's why I say it's orchestrated agenda. These guys in the West never paid attention to it until an event happened at the United Nations. And 24 hours after that event, Bill Maher was the first to start talking, and he said that it's killing of Nigeria. If you're Western media, you're not talking about it, shame on you. And I don't know why the Nigerian people are not in the street protesting. After he said that, two other podcasters said it, and then before you know, the senators who are APAC-backed senators and senators who have ailing political career, those ones continue to say it and ask people to retreat. Now, this is how you will know that it is agenda. When Nigerians were crying insecurity, what did they do? They didn't do anything. Until now, they feel the opportunity presents itself for them to pick that thing up in order to create problem for Nigeria. And you talked about Marco Rubio may buy into it. Because before now, when Marco Rubio was an ordinary senator, Marco Rubio was among the persons who were pushing for that kind of a thing. But we are committed in bringing out the falsehood. We admit there is insecurity in Nigeria and we're fighting it. We have made significant progress since 2023 when the president came. None of the insecurity in Nigeria relates to religion, and we are making the progress that is required.
Give me a moment.
What is happening in the United States is of concern to Nigeria. It's of concern to the Christians, it's of concern to the Muslims. Because the moment they bring sanctions sanctions will breed poverty. Poverty knows no religion. So for me, engagement will be the best. But when we go into executive session, we can decide to set up a small ad hoc committee to go to United States of America and engage our colleague parliamentarians there. And then to also educate them. Because if you see what these people are doing, most of them are outsiders. When they come and start spraying bullets from GP, or what do you call it, or they throw rocket, they are not throwing rocket into the crowd targeting a particular religion. They are killing Nigerians. I don't know who will now go and sit down and bring out maybe the dead bodies and say, this one is a Christian, this one is from this family, this must be a Muslim. So we are facing a situation whereby these terrorists are trying to terminate the lives of Nigerians. And then, of course, frustrate us from going into the farms, producing food to feed ourselves. So this discussion will be better in a closed session. And I think at the end of the day, we should actually have a small team that should visit our colleagues and also put the other side. Because some people must have gone there to give a one-sided story. And at the end, it will now look as if only Christians are being killed by terrorists in Nigeria. But I can tell you that a lot of Muslims have lost their lives in the last 5-10 years. The same way Christians have also lost their lives. So my personal opinion is that Nigerians have lost their lives as a result of insurgencies, banditry, and others. So if you look at what is happening in the southeast, predominantly Christians, most of those that are killed in the southeast, including the late husband of the demised icon, Dora Kunyili, the way the man was shot dead and everything, will you come and ascribe that to religion? I'm talking about what IPOB is doing. You see brothers killing brothers. Okay, so they sit at home that is going on Mondays in the southeast that has almost crippled the economy of the southeast. It's targeted at Christians or Muslims. So Nigeria has complex security situations, and we should actually go out there and educate people so that they will know what to do. But when they just come out with a one-sided motion, it means they have a target, and that target is to strangulate the economy of Nigeria. That's my personal opinion. So it's left to us as a parliament to take proactive actions and be strategic in our response. If we stay here to give figures and instances where Muslims were killed or where Christians were killed, then we are not helping the situation. Ours should be, what do we do to ensure what Senator Jimmy Ibrahim said, counter terrorism? How do we respond to the guerrilla tactics of the terrorists, whether internal or external aggressors? So let's go into the prayers. Is anybody that is opposed to this motion? No, I was about to look at your side because I think a lot of heavalists have also been killed in the. Is anybody that is opposed to this motion? Okay, so let me thank the Civil Senator Alain Dume for bringing this motion to the fore, and to say that if we restrict ourselves to the prayers here, we will tend to miss the point. The issues are too complex. The actions of the international community, very worrisome and are capable of having adverse effects on Nigerians of all faiths and the economy of the country. It's also capable of affecting the dignity of Nigerians wherever they go to. Therefore, we must have a strategy to approach this issue. And so, leader of the Senate, my personal opinion is that this has been brought to the fore of the Senate, and then we must have exhaustive deliberations in closed session on this, and then we must also come up with a strategy to correct the misinterpretation, the misinformation, and at the same time educate the international community. So we may not need to go into item by item on these prayers. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President, and distinguished, well spoken. My motion actually will be one to say that we recognize that this motion has been thoroughly debated, and that no member of this Senate is opposed to this motion. However, in view of the sensitivity of the issues involved, I would just say that let our resolution here today on the basis of this motion be that as a Senate, it is our conviction that the insecurity problem, the insecurity challenge in Nigeria is not religion-driven. And having said that, as a resolution on the basis of our discussion there, that we will now step down further consideration of this motion, especially the prayers, till the next legislative day, which is Tuesday next week, when we can have our executive session, to discuss these prayers as well as other related matters, and also our impending security summit, and possible delegation that we will be sending to the international community. I believe these are things that we need to resolve in an executive session, and then we'll be able to take a final decision, and then you can come back to plenary to report progress on our discussion in that regard. But again, I say that let it be resolved that this Senate is totally in support of this motion, and it is the view of this Senate that our insecurity challenge in Nigeria is not religion-driven. I so move, Mr. President.
I represent Bauchi Central. Based on the position adequately raised by the Senate leader, I second the motion most appropriately that this motion is unanimously agreed, adopted, but proper reaction to this motion should be stepped down until when we have an executive session on Tuesday next week to come up with appropriate mechanisms in dealing with this matter, as criminality and crisis in Nigeria is not driven by religious sentiment. I so second, Mr. President.
Support that this motion is noted and accepted by the Senate, but further to have a comprehensive discussion on ways and means of responding to the international threats to Nigeria, particularly where insecurity in Nigeria is multifaceted and not only religious driven, but very complex, so that we can come up with a proper strategy that will not only address the issues but also clean the image of Nigeria, so that we don't criminalize any particular section or any particular religion. Those in support of this submission say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So we thank Senator Ndume for bringing this to the fore. We have noted it. We will go into executive session on Tuesday, sit down and discuss the strategy of engagement and our response, so that it will be multifaceted and other areas should have been consulted, such as the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Presidency, and others, so that we know ways to address the proposed bills in United States, Canada, or any other place, and particularly we know how to address the views of the international community and assuage the feelings of Nigerians.
For it to be a primary forum for both shaping and articulating the policies of the United States towards Africa. I believe that China is a global threat that must be confronted globally. And that means region by region, territory by territory, and nation by nation. The challenges posed by China and Africa are vast. However, there are also immense opportunities for advancing America's national security interests. Today's hearing focuses on China's dominance of critical minerals in Africa and on the importance of strengthening U.S.-Africa partnerships to secure the United States supply chain of critical minerals. We face acute threats to those supply chains, and there are enormous opportunities for American businesses to flourish in Africa. For years, the Chinese Communist Party has been working systematically to dominate Africa's critical mineral sector. China is pouring billions into its Belt and Road Initiative. It uses infrastructure loans to trap African nations in debt and then leverages that debt to secure mining rights, as it does in so many other contexts to advance Chinese interests. China has gained control over cobalt, lithium, and other rare earth minerals in countries like the Democratic Republic of Congo, Tanzania, and Zimbabwe. The CCP's activities have enabled China to attain a dominant global role in the processing and refinement of critical minerals, and to dramatically influence global supply chains, availability, and prices. Today, China refines more than 70% of the world's cobalt and controls a vast share of rare earth processing. That should alarm every American, because it means the economy, the energy transition, and even the defense supply chains depend on the Chinese Communist Party. The United States relies heavily on China to refine critical minerals, even those that originate in Africa. It is a glaring, persistent, and acute national security threat. No doubt, wherever possible, we should be seeking to onshore our critical minerals supply chain. In my home state of Texas, there are bold initiatives taking place to ensure.
All right. So after hearing all this, what do you make of it? IPOB, now. That sounds funny. Anyway, don't want to drop your comment in the comment section what you think, all right? I'll see you in my next video. There are so many of this I want to share with you. Thank you very much, and may God continue to bless you.